Welcome back to Courtroom Conversations. On the classic Courtroom YouTube channel, I'm Dylan Brooks Hamilton, and we are diving deep today into a Florida case that is fascinating and tragic in equal measure. We've got chilling cell phone footage, a suitcase, and a story that initially sounds like a game of hide and seek gone very wrong.
Right.
You might have already heard about this case, but trust me, there's a lot more to uncover, so buckle up. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss out on more deep dives like this. Joining me today is legal expert Susan Kelly Ashford.
Hi, everyone.
Ready to break it down.
Absolutely. The details of this case are really something.
Okay, so we're looking at the death of Jorge Torres.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, Sarah Boone, is charged with second-degree murder.
Right.
For those of us who aren't lawyers, can you explain what the prosecution had to prove to get that conviction?
Yeah. So in this case, the prosecution had to convince the jury that Sarah Boone acted with a depraved mind.
Depraved mind?
Meaning she demonstrated a reckless disregard for human life.
Okay.
They didn't have to prove she planned to kill Jorge Torres, but they had to show her actions were intentional and dangerous, ultimately leading to his death.
So depraved mind, that's pretty strong term.
Yeah.
What kind of evidence did they use to support that argument?
Well,
was it just the videos we've heard about?
the videos were definitely key, but the prosecution also pointed to other evidence. Like, they brought up the fact that Boone struck Torres with a baseball bat at some point.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't clear exactly when this happened, but it definitely painted a picture of aggression and intent to harm. It wasn't just a tragic accident. There was a deliberate element to her actions.
Right, because initially, Boone claimed this was all an accident. During a drunken hide-and-seek game, she said Torres climbed into the suitcase, and she fell asleep thinking he would get out. But then those cell phone videos surfaced, and the story took a pretty dark turn.
Yes. Those videos completely changed the narrative. You hear Torres yelling, pleading with Boone, saying he can't breathe.
Oh, gosh.
It's incredibly disturbing to listen to. He's clearly in distress. And instead of helping, Boone is heard laughing and taunting him.
Wow, I can only imagine what went through the jury's minds. When they heard those recordings, what was your reaction when you first saw them?
It was chilling, honestly. You can't help but feel for Torres, trapped and suffocating. The videos provided a stark contrast to Boone's initial story. They really highlighted the power of digital evidence in these kinds of cases.
It absolutely makes you wonder how many cases were decided differently before everyone had a camera in their pocket.
Right.
So the videos pretty much believe Boone's hide-and-seek story out of the water. But did the prosecution have any other evidence to back up their argument?
They did try to paint a picture of Boone as someone capable of violence. They brought up witnesses who testified about previous incidents, suggesting a history of volatility in the relationship. They didn't present a mountain of evidence, but they did enough to make the jury question Boone's version of events. Okay,
so that's the prosecution side. But Boone did offer a defense, right? She claims she acted in self-defense because Torres had abused her in the past.
Right.
Let's talk more about that. What kind of evidence did her lawyers use to support her claims?
Boone's defense team focused on establishing a history of domestic abuse. In the relationship, they presented evidence of past incidents, including police reports and medical records, to show that Torres had been physically violent towards Boone on multiple occasions.
And the court acknowledged there was a history of abuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But the question was whether that justified her actions on that particular night. Was she truly in imminent danger? That must be a tough call for a jury to make.
It is. The defense argued that Boone's actions, while extreme, were a direct result of the trauma she had endured. They argued that her past experiences with Torres led her to believe she was in danger, even if that danger wasn't objectively present at the time.
That's really interesting. It raises the question of how past trauma can influence someone's perception of a situation. Do you think that argument resonated with the jury?
It's hard to say for sure. We don't get to hear the jury deliberations, but ultimately they decided that Boone's actions went beyond self-defense. It's possible they felt the level of force she used was excessive, or that she had other options besides locking him in a suitcase.
It's such a complicated situation. And just to add another layer to this whole thing, during the trial, Torres' sister gave a heart-wrenching statement, saying Boone deserved to rot in jail.
Yeah. and had caused their family a lifetime of pain.
And Boone also spoke,
Yeah.
asking for forgiveness and saying she never stopped loving Torres and didn't mean for him to die.
Right.
Do you think that kind of statement carries any weight in a courtroom?
I think juries are looking for genuine remorse. And whether they believe those statements are sincere can influence their decision. It's not just about the legal arguments. It's also about human emotion and perception.
Absolutely. And in the end, Boone was sentenced to life in prison. This case really makes you think, where is the line between self-defense and going too far? Especially when there's a history of abuse.
You hit the nail on the head. This case highlights the complexity of domestic violence situations. There are no easy answers. And the legal system has to grapple with those gray areas where the lines blur between victim and perpetrator, between self-defense and excessive force.
And it shows how crucial digital evidence is becoming. In these cases, a few years ago, we wouldn't have had those videos. And the outcome might have been very different.
Exactly. This case serves as a reminder that technology is changing the legal landscape. And we're still figuring out how to navigate those changes.
Well, this has been a fascinating, albeit tragic, deep dive into a complex case. What are some key things you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
I think it's important to remember that every case has layers. What might seem straightforward on the surface can be incredibly nuanced. We need to consider all angles, the evidence, the arguments, and the human stories behind them.
I couldn't agree more. And to our listeners, if this case has sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to dig a little deeper. Research similar cases, explore the arguments, and form your own opinions. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Classic Courtroom YouTube channel for more deep dives
into the courtroom. Thanks for joining us today.